everyone, it's Melissa, and I am so glad to get back to you in regards to the infertility, IVF, and IUI experience that I've had. It's taking me some time to do this video. It's one of the videos I wanted to do early on, but I felt like I had a few people who were going through an infertility journey, and I felt like I wanted to wait until I had a good compilation of information that worked for them, that worked for me. So this video is going to be about how to save money on infertility treatments, IVF, IUI, basically 7 ways to pay for IVF and IUI. Anywho, so let's get started. If you do like this content, if you have any questions, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Confessions of an Aspiring Mom. You can also email me, confessionsofanAspiringMom@gmail.com. Let's go. So I'm gonna have my handy dandy notes as I usually like to have, because it's not a long video, but it's going to be full of a lot of useful information that I personally experienced, or I know of someone who's able to benefit from this. So number 1, use your employer. Number 2, using multiple pharmacies. Number 3, going back to your reproductive endocrinology, your fertility doctor. Number 4, using grants. Number 5, generating additional income. Number 6, understanding your insurance and coding. Number 7, lucky number 7, crowdfunding. So let's get started with number 1, basically using your employer. This is what I ended up doing. So most employers, as a lot of you who are watching this video may know, aren't covering infertility treatments unless you're like with some huge conglomerates such as Amazon or eBay or Starbucks, a huge corporation like that who can afford to add that, because most states don't have health insurance coverage for infertility treatments. So my first initial thing was I actually wrote a letter. I can't remember where I got the source from. I think it was resolve.org, who gives you like a general letter where you're able to pretty much plug in information and then use those facts to write a letter to your CEO, your VP, your HR department to see if they'll add that to the next year's plan. So I went ahead and did that. I work for a very small company, so I did that, sent the letter, and actually got a response from one of the CEOs of the company. Initially, I did ask my HR person first, and she I don't want to say she dismissed it, but she shut it down. But something told me in my gut to just, try it again. Like, she didn't even want to attempt to make an outreach to upper management to see if that's something they would even consider or cross their mind. So I went ahead and emailed both of the CEOs of my company, and they let me know that they would get in contact with HR, see how we can go about doing something like that, getting pricing from the insurance broker. They did get back to me within a few days and basically let me know they were unable to do that. At that time, it was going to be too expensive for them as a company, but I was grateful that they even took a look into it. So I'm happy about that. The second option when it comes to using your employer, which I used, get an FSA or HSA card. So an FSA is a flexible spending account. Basically, it's a debit card that has pre-tax dollars. So let's say the maximum is $2,600. So let's say you feel like you're going to use $2,600 in that year from January to December. Basically, that $2,600 is split into 26 paychecks. So that money is tax-free, is taken out of your paycheck and put all up front into a debit card. And you can use it for eligible medical expenses, such as medications, maybe prescriptions, testing that needs to be done at the lab, things of that nature. I was actually able to use it for my IVF medications, and I used it for my flight to CNY Fertility. That's where I went to in Syracuse, New York, to do my IVF. And I have a video to that. I'll link to that in the description. So I actually was able to use it because I got a letter from the clinic. I requested that. Got a letter so they can know that I was doing an actual medical procedure, and that flight was in relation to that. So I was able to actually get my flight paid for, which was like over $300, which was so awesome. So use your employer, use those benefits, health savings account as well. Number 2, which is using multiple pharmacies. I did this. Generally speaking, your RE or your fertility doctor has maybe 1 or 2 pharmacies that they like to use, that they like to send their patients to. And also your insurance. They may have a specific pharmacy that they use for fertility drugs. They may not. They may have multiple. Use those options. Use your local pharmacy. Shop around. See how much, you can use a website called GoodRx. Find out what the self-pay rate for some of these medications are. Sometimes they end up being cheaper paying out of pocket for them than to have them run a claim through your insurance. Because what happens is a lot of people don't know that when your employer, this is not for everyone, but when your employer has given you, let's say, a $10,000 IVF benefit, sometimes that $10,000 includes your medications. So you have your treatment, all of your testing, and your medications. My medications alone, like the actual self-pay price, was worth $8,000. And I didn't have any IVF coverage. So I can only imagine someone who only has a $10,000 maximum benefit, and $8,000 of that has come from medications, or $5,000 or $2,000. That's a huge chunk of money. So shop around, see if you can get things filled through multiple pharmacies, so that way you can try to save as much money as possible and maximize your IVF benefits. So that way that money that's being used would be able to be focused on the actual procedure treatment itself. Number 3, again, I apologize if I have my notes. This is a lot of important information. I don't want to skip a beat. Using your clinic. It's important. I remember when I first realized that I needed infertility treatments, I looked around on multiple websites to clinics that were local to me. Ultimately, they were just too expensive for me to afford. But I had one clinic in particular who was actually doing a monthly new patient or prospective patient luncheon, which was completely free. I went there on a Saturday afternoon with my husband. There was multiple people there, multiple families were there, and they provided basically information about their company, their success rates, information. There was a question and answer session at the end with the actual doctor from the practice, and then they did an actual raffle at the end where a couple won a free cycle of IVF. So you may see that at the clinic or prospective clinic that you're going to. Check out their website to see if they have any raffles, if they're providing their own grants. See if if they have patients who are donating leftover medication. I had leftover syringes and things like that. I didn't know where to bring them to because I'm not really affiliated with an office here in my area in Central Florida, so I really didn't know what to do with that stuff. But there are patients who have leftover meds who you just don't throw them away in the trash. They bring them back to their local clinic to see if maybe there's some patients who, need them. So use that. Go on their provider's Facebook page, Instagram page if they have something like that, and see if you can join a private group affiliated, not sponsored by, but perhaps maybe affiliated, that other couples or other women have formed, and see if maybe they can direct you to finding, medications or ways to save on, things like that. So that's number 3, using your clinic. Number 4, grants. There are grants. I have not applied for a grant. I've had the opportunity to do so, but at that time, I just didn't. I didn't feel like it was necessary for me at that time. But apply for grants. See if your YouTube. See if your clinic has a website or has a portion of their website that talks about financing your IVF, and maybe they have a link to credible sources for grants. Also within that, compassionate care. This is something I use, which is also known as fertility lines or fertility lifelines. I don't even know how I found out about this. I want to say it could have been maybe the pharmacy that I was using at the time for my IVF drugs. They asked if I had a code or something, and I said no. And then I looked it up. It's actually an income-based discount program. Whether you're insured, whether you're not insured, military, they basically ask for your income, whether it's your tax return or pay stubs. And it's about a 24 to 48 hour turnaround time, and they give you a discount on some of the larger medications, such as I remembered all of the names, like Ovidril or Avidril. What else? I can't remember. Like a lot of the major injection ones. I'm sorry, it's been over a year and a half since I've taken these medications. HCG, things of that nature. So they give you anywhere from 5% up to 50%, maybe 75%. But I know 50%, I believe that was something I was able to qualify for, which helped me significantly when it came to some of these medications, because they're really, really expensive. Number 5, get additional income. Additional income could be couponing. Start couponing in your home, buying things from your local grocery store, Publix, Target, Walmart, and then reselling them online on Facebook Messenger, OfferUp, Go, using your talents. If you're a baker, if you're a musician, using those talents and being able to being paid for that. Also, getting a second job. There's Shipt, there's Uber, there's Lyft. There's multiple ways to earn side income. Another example is Starbucks. Starbucks, if you work, I believe, a minimum of 4 months, maybe 6, don't quote me, but 4 months at 20 hours a week, you're able to qualify for an IVF benefit. I don't know the exact amount. I'm not sure if it's 10,000 or 20,000, but that's a major score. Number 6, understanding your insurance, procedural coding and diagnosis coding. This definitely worked for me for my benefit, majorly, hugely. It's important to know what's going on in your healthcare. You have to be an advocate for yourself. When you're getting blood work done, when you are getting scans done at imaging centers, or even within these facilities that you're getting your IVF or IUI or fertility treatment done, make sure to look at the name of the procedure, finding out the actual code for that. The code for that itself is about 5 digits. It's a CBT code. And finding out what the diagnosis code is, the reasoning for that code. A lot of the times, things are getting rejected by insurance because the coding is incorrect. This has happened to me personally. This has happened to people I know. You could be 1 digit off, and something that should have been a screening or preventative care is seen as a problem, and therefore is being charged. So a lot of times, if you're doing blood work, things of that nature, you don't have to necessarily do it in the office. Take that prescription and take it to a outside imaging, a third party like a LabCorp, a Quest, or a private facility in your area. You could be saving hundreds of dollars. I believe the charge for a lot, especially when you're doing like the testing, when it comes to IVF, like while you're sitting, where they're checking all of your estrogen and all the other jargon, that's several $100s for just 3 or 4 vials of blood, when you can go to a private clinic and be saving a huge amount of money. So understand that some of these coding, sometimes when they send the codes out, or they do your ultrasounds, they do your blood work, if they put generic infertility on that code, your insurance could deny it if you never had infertility coverage in the first place. So it's important to see, to find out if that code could be more related to why you're infertile in the first place. If you're infertile because you have PCOS, if you're infertile because you have diminished ovarian reserve, if you like there, or if you have, if you're anemic and that end result leads you to have this, things like that. Those you may think they're really small, but those small changes in a digit or in a number or in a letter or in a decimal place in these codes have hundreds or thousands of dollars of effect and change in how you're going to be able to pay for this. Last but definitely not least, crowdfunding. This, some people are like, absolutely not, and I was one of those people. I was like, absolutely not. I would never put myself out there. Look where I am now. Hello, YouTube. Hi, subscribers. Hi, new people. I hope you subscribe and comment and like and share and reshare. But a huge weight for you to be able to fund your cycle and get your miracle child and miracle babies is crowdfunding. GoFundMe, and that's what I did. I put myself out there. People have been asking, when are we having kids? When are me and my husband having kids? And you can check out my link to my infertility journey and how I got there, and you can see my beautiful babies. I have twins, 10-month-old twins. I'll have links to all of that, but it had been years. It had been 4 years. I think I did IVF. So it had been 4 years of trying to conceive, and some people knew, some people didn't. I felt ashamed. I felt embarrassed. As a woman, I thought something was wrong with me. I was not normal. I was not whole. I just didn't feel good about myself. It really did that to me, and once I put myself out there, me and my husband discussed it. We knew that we had a lot of support from people, and that if we just asked, the worst they could say is no, or just completely ignore it. And we were able to generate a significant amount of money to help us fund that journey, and with us having to travel to New York to do our IVF cycle, that money turned into, of course, paying for part of the treatment itself, but flights, being able to eat while we were there for 7 full days, hotels, transportation, just having to buy medication at the last minute. You just never know. So I feel like crowdfunding is not for everyone, but there are a lot of people who do want to help you, but they don't want to just say, here's a check for $100. Here's $50. They don't want you to feel offended by just doing that. So it's okay to ask for the help. So I hope this video was helpful and beneficial to you all, to you future mommies and daddies, and all the angel babies and all the future rainbow babies. Again, if you need some help or assistance in any type of way, if you found this video very beneficial to you, please like, please comment, please share. Also subscribe and hit that notification button so you can get more content from me. You guys have an amazing day. Don't forget Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, Confessions of an Aspiring Mom. It's Melissa. Have a great day.